Stop wasting money on fertilizer. Yes, you heard that right. The very product so many gardeners swear by could be quietly draining the life out of your soil, locking your plants into shallow growth and leaving your garden more dependent year after year. But here's the exciting part. There's a way to grow bigger, stronger, healthier plants without spending a dime on fertilizers. And it's all thanks to something nature has been doing for millions of years: fermentation. Today, we're diving deep into carbon-rich plant ferments, the secret that can turn garden waste into a supercharged tonic for soil and plants alike. On the surface, fertilizers look like a miracle. You sprinkle, pour or spray, and almost instantly plants perk up. But here's the hidden cost. Synthetic fertilizers force-feed nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium directly into the soil. While that seems effective, it bypasses the natural soil food web. Microbes, fungi and earthworms, the very life force of the soil, lose their role. Without their partnership, soil slowly compacts, dries out faster and becomes addicted to chemical inputs. Even organic fertilizers, though safer, don't fully solve the issue. They may deliver nutrients, but they rarely rebuild the soil's living network. Without strong microbial activity, much of that nutrition washes away with rain or remains locked, unavailable to your plants. Over time, gardeners end up in a frustrating cycle, adding more and more inputs for weaker and weaker results. That's why the solution isn't just feeding plants, it's feeding the soil itself. And carbon-rich plant ferments are the most effective, affordable and sustainable way to do exactly that. A plant ferment is not fertilizer in the usual sense, it's a living brew. When you ferment carbon-rich material like dried leaves, stems or crop residue, you unleash a biological powerhouse. Fermentation breaks these tough materials into their simplest, most available forms. During the process, microbes multiply rapidly, producing enzymes, organic acids, and natural growth hormones. The result is a tonic that doesn't force-feed nutrients, but instead awakens soil life. Microbes get the first meal, and in turn they deliver nutrients to your plants. This cycle builds resilience, stronger roots, and healthier growth. Unlike chemical fertilizers that push plants into unnatural spurts of shallow growth, ferments build a foundation. With every application, you're not just feeding plants, you're rebuilding soil life, which keeps giving season after season. This is where it gets exciting. You don't need a lab or expensive products to make it. All you need is garden waste, a little sugar, and some patience. Here's a tested formula that works beautifully. Start with 2 kilograms of dry leaves or dried grass stems as your carbon source. Add 500 grams of fresh green weeds or soft plant matter to act as your nitrogen booster. Then mix in 200 grams of unrefined sugar or molasses. This fuels the fermentation process by feeding beneficial microbes. Finally, add 10 liters of clean, chlorine-free water. To put it together, place the dry and green materials into a bucket or drum. Sprinkle the sugar on top, then pour in the water and stir thoroughly. Cover the container loosely with a lid or cloth, tight enough to keep pests out but loose enough to let gases escape. Stir it once a day, and in 7 to 10 days you'll notice bubbles and a tangy, sweet smell. That's the sign your ferment is alive and thriving. When bubbling slows down, your liquid ferment is ready to use. Now, this part is key. Plant ferments are powerful, so you never want to pour them on directly without diluting. For most plants, dilute 1 liter of ferment in 20 liters of water. Pour this solution directly onto the soil around your plants every 2 weeks. For a quick pick-me-up, you can also use it as a foliar spray during stress periods, like heat waves or transplant shock. For seedlings and sensitive plants, go a little gentler. Dilute 1 liter of ferment in 30 liters of water. The goal here isn't to overwhelm delicate roots, but to quietly feed the microbes that protect and support them. Unlike synthetic fertilizers, this solution won't burn or stress your plants. Instead, it gently strengthens them from the roots up. After just 1 season, the difference becomes clear. Fertilizers give you a short burst, then leave soil weaker than before. Ferments do the opposite. They leave soil richer, more alive, and more resilient. The organic acids in a ferment unlock minerals that have been stuck in your soil for years, making them available to your plants. Natural growth hormones encourage roots to grow deeper and wider, which means better access to water and higher drought resistance. Plants fed with ferments aren't just bigger, they're tougher. They resist pests more naturally because their immune systems are stronger, and they produce more flowers and fruit without being pushed unnaturally. And let's not forget the long-term effect. Carbon is the true backbone of soil fertility. Without it, microbes starve and nutrients go unused. By turning garden waste into ferments, you're recycling carbon back into the soil where it belongs, creating humus and building fertility that can last for decades. Fertilizers can never do that. There are a few things to keep in mind to get the best results. Always use chlorine-free water, since chlorine can kill beneficial microbes. Rainwater is perfect, but if you're using tap water, let it sit for 24 hours before mixing. Stick with healthy plant materials. Never ferment diseased leaves or anything sprayed with chemicals, as these can harm your soil instead of helping it. Once your ferment is ready, store it in a cool, shaded place and use it within a month for maximum potency. If you notice white mold forming on the surface, don't panic. That's actually beneficial fungal activity. It means your brew is alive and strong. Within weeks of using carbon-rich ferments, you'll notice plants turning a deeper green, stems becoming stronger and growth speeding up. Flowers and fruits come more abundantly, and soil itself begins to change. It holds moisture longer, resists compaction, and comes alive with worms and microbial activity. Over time, your garden becomes more self-sustaining, requiring fewer outside inputs. The best part? This costs you almost nothing. Instead of buying bag after bag of fertilizer, you're recycling your own garden waste into something more effective than anything you could buy. As fertilizer prices rise and concerns about environmental damage grow, gardeners everywhere are looking for smarter, sustainable methods. Carbon-rich plant ferments tick every box. They're affordable, eco-friendly, and they deliver results fertilizers simply can't. By choosing this path, you're not just improving your own harvest, you're helping restore balance to the environment. Healthy soils capture carbon, reduce runoff, and support biodiversity. Every bucket of ferment made at home is a small but powerful step toward a better future for gardening. The truth is clear. Fertilizers don't build soil, they drain it. Carbon-rich ferments, on the other hand, work with nature, turning garden waste into abundance. They give you stronger plants, healthier soil, and long-term fertility. Start with one bucket. Watch your plants thrive. Once you see the results, you'll never go back to chemical fertilizers again.